Welcome. The river is waiting. Sail on. You know, Heraclitus said you can never step into the same river at the same, I'm paraphrasing badly. You will never step into the same river at the same place because that water keeps on flowing and it flows through us, in us, around us, as us. And so we are always being cleansed, inspired, and we are being held in the arms of love, in the arms of spirit. Now, that is something that we don't necessarily know coming out of the womb, or maybe we do and then we forget it as we walk the planet, because not everybody is raised with the awareness that you are a divine, perfect, whole, amazing creation. Anybody grow up like that? Okay, so that's why we're here now. Because we all need to know it for ourselves and for each other. And I really believe that the more we can do that for ourselves and for each other, that the more this world begins to move past the challenges and the struggles. You know, we are seeing the death of old paradigms. We are seeing old structures begin to crumble away. And I was listening to Brené Brown this morning as I came in, and she was talking about the idea of transformation and the phoenix. And so when the phoenix rises, right, that's a new life, a new idea, a new vitality. And she said, I always thought that the fire was something to be survived and to be transcended. She said, I'm realizing that the fire is the transformation. The fire is the transformation. Welcome to the fire, kids. We are all in this place of alchemy, of transformation, and of moving into a greater awareness of who we are individually and collectively. And that's why I said at the beginning that there is a difference between that divine identity that we have, that we are, and our personality. It's very easy to conflate identity, divine identity, with personality and think that who we are in this world, which is shaped so much by families and friends and conditions and experiences and politics and this and that and churches that work or churches that are abusive, whatever that has looked like for you, that begins to shape our personalities. But there is that within each of us which has never been touched, never been broken, never been hurt in any way, and it is the divine that is always seeking to come forth as the amazing magnificence that we already are. Yeah. So, in fact, I have a quote from Emerson, and he wrote, "To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment." Well, yes, I would agree with that. So I have a question. When was the last time you really, truly listened to your life? When was the last time you listened to your life? And this goes beyond this hearing, the ears, but this is about the listening of your senses, of your feelings, of noticing how you hear a certain sound outside, whether it's a gate squeaking or a bird singing or whatever that is, a dog barking or a car driving by, that something is going on for you in relation to that. When was the last time you listened to your life and you noticed the smell of the rose or the smell of the trees or the smell of whatever is going on, the cooking? I got to tell you, that black bean soup smelled great. So when was the last time you really noticed who and how you are in your own skin and your own feelings? You know, today we're exploring something deeply practical and profoundly spiritual. And that is how our personal mission, vision, values, and purpose aren't just corporate buzzwords, but they're the architecture of a meaningful life and the blueprint for the world we want to create. The title of my talk, because I don't like to get really serious about this stuff, because corporate speak is certainly not me. So my title is Mission, Vision, and stuff like that. So there is an architecture of spiritual integrity that we are sourced in and by. It is our substance, and it is that which sustains and maintains us. particularly when we listen to it, when we pay attention to it, when we are willing and receptive to know more about the divine that we are from that spiritual integrity. So this idea of integrity is really interesting. When I was a little girl, I remember a moment in the life of our family when I learned about integrity. My father was a pretty successful aerospace engineer here in Southern California, and his path often crossed the paths of influential and wealthy people. So at one point, one of these men that wanted to offer my father some discounts on high-end furniture and wanted to gift us a pretty cool TV. Now, I remember him turning it down. And my brother and I were all over the TV thing. And when he turned it down, we were not happy campers. I mean, a free TV, come on. And color, are you kidding me? I mean, this is when we grew up. And what I got later was that my dad was absolutely dedicated to being in the highest integrity and to never do anything that might even hint at being out of integrity. The appearance of taking favors or gifts was absolutely non-negotiable with him. Let that land. I grew up with a very solid sense of doing the right thing, even when, and especially when no one was looking. And there is something so profoundly simple about living in full and non-negotiable integrity and truth. It makes every decision clearer, and it makes my life easier. There are no doubts. There are no doubts. So spirit is non-negotiable integrity. Spirit has non-negotiable integrity. Spirit is always integrity with itself. God, spirit, light, life, whatever you choose to call that infinite loving wisdom, always in integrity, harmony, order, and balance with itself. Now, because we know that God is all there is, and we cannot be outside of that or separate from it or in any way divorced from it, we are that same non-negotiable harmony, order, and presence, and love, and wisdom. We are all of that pure peace, that pure love, that pure, perfect blueprint of a design. It is so much because of the grit from this journey that we pick up and acquire that starts coming into our creating our personality and our response and our protections that begins to cause us to filter out a sense of perfection, divine perfection. And I'm not talking ego perfection or performance. I'm talking that the innate order of this universe, which that same thing that keeps planets in their orbit, that's you and me. And here's the thing, if that were to be off by just one tiny, tiny little degree, if gravity were a little bit stronger or a little bit weaker, just a little tiny, tiny, tiny bit, and I'm no physicist, but I watch The Big Bang Theory all the time. So, but if it were off just slightly, the universe as we know it would not exist. It is the nth, I just made up a word, an nth of that thing that is the order and the harmony and sustaining. That also is about the circulation of our bodies and the fact that my hair grows, my fingernails grow. I don't have to tell them to do. I don't have to tell my stomach to digest stuff. We don't have to do that. There is an intelligence at the center of our being that is harmonizing, ordering, and always lifting up and expanding and evolving as us, not just as our physical being, but as our spiritual nature. Yeah? So there's a framework of spiritual order and harmony, and we often call it the divine blueprint. Has anybody heard that, the divine blueprint? Okay. Now, when I first started hearing the words divine blueprint, I thought to myself, where do I get a copy of that thing? And then I'd think, and then I would hear there is a divine blueprint for your life. And then I would think, I really want that. Did someone lock it up and not give me the key? Where is that thing located? It is the order and harmony of life itself. And we access it by our listening, by our attending, by our noticing, by our being in the stillness and allowing that stillness to be greater than the noise. It's an ongoing journey to do that. It's not just the meditative and contemplative listening. It is the noticing. It is noticing how you feel with some people and how you resonate with others, or not. It's noticing how your senses perk up when you hear a certain kind of music or the feel of the wind on your face. It's noticing your own energy when you are filled with inspiration because of a painting, or filled with compassion and concern because of a tragedy that has happened half a world away, or half a county away, or half a country away. So what are we really talking about here? We are doing an exploration into our values and what matters most to us, those non-negotiables. And we're looking at purpose, why you're here, your unique contribution, not the purpose that perhaps the world has told you, your teachers or your family, but there's something inside of you that is wanting to come forth. There's a gift you have to give. That is the purpose. Mission, what you're called to do with that gift, and the vision, the world you are working to create, that we are all working to create. And why does this matter? Well, Ernest Holmes wrote these words: there is a divine plan for your life. Trust in it and allow it to unfold. Now, that's the tough part, allowing it to unfold. Those are the words that most of us don't take in because they suggest surrender. And surrender doesn't feel good. It feels like letting go of not just control, but perhaps surrendering to something that is not necessarily for our highest good. Because we have been living in the world, we have picked up a lot of that grit from the journey, and so it has a lot to do with how we are perceiving what is safe, what is not, what is love, what is not. So I think we complicate it. We really do. I think we want our great life purpose to be thrust upon us, or that there's like this epiphanal moment, like the house falling on the witch in The Wizard of Oz, where we go, that's it. That's my purpose. And it's these words from Ernest Holmes: allow it to unfold. Allow it to unfold as we begin to notice more and more of who and how we are with people, with ideas, with art, with music, with those things that awaken us, that touch our hearts and our souls. That is where we begin to reveal the greater purpose for us. And I think that we have a purpose which is the gift, but there's also beyond that, the purpose is how that gift can serve this world. I was listening to Michael Beckwith this morning as I brushed my teeth. I frequently do that, so if I have good dental care, it's because of Michael. If I don't, it's, that's right, because I got to go to the dentist this week. That was a joke. Okay. Because I lost track of my thought. It's going to come back. Okay, well, we'll talk about flossing later, too. That we are here to allow this thing to unfold. That's what it is. That when we ask the question, what am I here to get? Then we get a limited answer. What can I get, Lord? What can I get, life? What can I get, love? What can I get, mom? What can I get, dad? But when we start to ask, what can I give in any moment? What is mine to give? What is mine to give? Then that's where we open up this channel for inspiration and blessing and possibility. And more importantly, we get guidance. We get that sense of, this is who I am in this experience, and this is what I can give. And we always have something to give. We always have something to give. It might be hearts, it might be love, it might be demonstrating with a sign, it might be sitting in prayer, it might be making phone calls, it might be calling those people that you love and haven't spoken with in a while, it might be doing blanket forgiveness work for the whole planet. By the way, I'm down with that. If you want to do that, call me and I will be right there with you. And I'm thinking Skip will probably do that too. So this idea that our purpose unfolds in us and by means of our feelings and our relationships might seem a little weird. It seems contrary to the ideas of surrender and release. This stuff that's going to come through and it's going to be safe. And, one of my favorite teachers in the whole world truly is my husband. And one of the things he often says is surrender isn't about giving up, it's about opening up. And I love that idea so much because when we allow ourselves to open up to something greater, then, oh my God, all bets are off. We move into this place of great possibility. There is a grace afforded to us when we stop chasing what we think we should do or how we should feel. And we begin instead to actually live our lives to being awake and present to each here and now moment. Our here and now moments with every breath. They go beyond the moments that we are privy to watching the news or hearing things that are happening in the world. I'm talking about those internal here and now moments of what is mine to give here. What am I to give? What is the gift I am called to give here? Is it compassion? Is it love? Is it a knowing of myself as being an emanation of the infinite, and therefore other people are that as well? There's always an opening for us to give. We wander through life asking what our purpose is, and I think we get very distracted just by asking the question. We get distracted by what people have told us. And we think there's going to be a great epiphanal purpose, as if, giving the gift of God or the gift of life within you isn't a great epiphanal purpose. But we think it should look like something massive and huge, but nothing is born that way. And if we think that's what's going on, we're going to totally miss the point of what it is, of this nuanced, beautiful, perfect love that wants to express heart to heart, heart to heart, heart to heart, heart to heart, heart to heart. Did I say heart to heart? That's what we're here to do. The gift of each present and aware moment is connection with life itself. And again, from my buddy Ralph Waldo Emerson, the only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. There are no wrong answers here. I think many of us wander around saying, am I doing it right, God? Am I doing it right, Spirit? Am I getting this right? Am I getting this right? You're getting it right. Who are you deciding to be? And does that fit you? Does that fit you? Does that suit you? If not, you can change. You can change. So good old Ralph meant that we aren't just saddled or inhabited by our purpose. We actually get to choose it, to tailor it, to trim it, to personalize it, and to mold it into that which is uniquely our own. And that is what is meant by conscious co-creation with the divine. Conscious co-creation with the divine. That is what we are here to do. That is it. That's it. So this integrity to spirit, this spiritual integrity, order, harmony, mathematical precision. We are part of that same order, that same harmony, and that means we get to live lives of deep purpose, meaning, and possibility. This profound, delicate balance that keeps the planets in their orbits is who and what we are, and yet it is sustained by that which is greater than what we are. The perfect power that sustains life is continually unfolding in such a way that life keeps growing, evolving, and expanding, and even correcting when we try to screw it up. Because nature always has the last word. Nature always adapts and always has the last word. And that's one of the reasons we are so committed here to be aware of the impact that we make on our environment. The impact, this footprint that we are making. You might notice we stopped using plastic some time ago. We use glass bottles up here, and because we don't want to create. I have a kid, for God's sake, and he's got kids, for God. I want them to actually have a planet when I leave this place. So we are very aware of this because we are co-creating. When I consider all of this, I realize that the same order that God is, that this universe is, that life is, that spirit is, doesn't just extend to us. It creates and shows up by means of us. So it's not separate from us. It's not going along, okay, well, I'm going to do this for Roger and for Gail, but I'm going to skip Jana, and then I'm going to move. It doesn't do that. Spirit is non-selective. It's going to work through us regardless. We are sentient beings, and that means we have the choice, we have the option. I think we have the responsibility to be conscious about what we are thinking and what we are presenting to ourselves and into the world, because that which we are giving space to, that which we are allowing to occupy us, our thinking, our tendency, our major tendency of thought, of that which is indwelling our minds, that is creating our experience and therefore the conditions in our world. It is all according to our perceptions, right? And so that which we are knowing about ourselves, believing about ourselves, is reflecting. If we are believing that we are part of that divine, amazing magnificence, the lives that we live are part of that same magnificence. But if we are believing that we are not worthy, that we are separate, even though we're not, but if we are believing that we are less than whole, less than fully empowered and fully ordained and blessed, then our lives are absolutely going to demonstrate that. And I can tell you this because that's the experience I know I have had and so many students I have had. And I'm going to say that Reverend Skip has said that all of us who have taken classes and studied what it is about spiritual principle that has brought us to this place where we learn we can co-create, that we can work together, and that we can be inspired, guided, sustained, and maintained by it, that as we do that, our lives, like that phoenix, right? We go through that fire, but our lives begin to show up in a new paradigm. A new paradigm, because we are shaking off the old one. Now, I know that we are doing it individually all the time. We're doing it globally. We are doing it in this country. We are doing it in this world. We are shaking off an old idea. And it's part of how evolution works all the time, all the time, all the time. Now, we are particularly aware of it because we have such immediate access to media. And we have such immediate access to opinions. And they're not good. They're just not good. Ernest Holmes said, life is a mirror and will reflect back to the thinker what he or she thinks into it. So our inner clarity creates our outer reality. Before we can change the world, and you think I'm going to say we must change ourselves. But what I'm going to say here is before we can change the world, we must know ourselves. We must know ourselves. That's the listening we begin to practice. It's a practice of knowing ourselves as both divine and human, vulnerable and infinitely sourced. Knowing ourselves as that. And we may opine about our limitations, our fears, our weakness, our health, whatever that is, our lack of money or lack of connection, employment. But the truth, and this is knowing ourselves as the divine, that's where we begin to reveal that which has never, ever been weakened, injured, or damaged in this journey, because it is the truth of who we are. That's what we teach here. That's what we are learning. That's what we do in classes. And that's what this whole place is founded upon, so that we each can move into a greater life, that we can create a greater life. Again, Michael Beckwith, he said something a couple of weeks ago that I really liked, and he said, we are not a cult. And I'm going to say, absolutely, we are not a cult. A cult is an organization or a group that is so addicted to the leader's personality and the leader's consciousness that no one is encouraged to go beyond it, that you are not free to go beyond. Please go beyond my consciousness. Please do not be addicted to me. Please do not be addicted to Skip. Please be not addicted to anything, but be absolutely entranced and enchanted by the ideas that are new, that are possible, that are here to expand your life. And if they take you to another place, oh my gosh, that's great. Whether it's this community or another community, we want you to have that kind of life that you have been placed here to have. And most of us have never known that that's what we are worthy of or deserving of. And yet that's what we are here to know, to be limitless, because we are. I believe that when we begin to know ourselves as part of this magnificent infinite source that we call God or Spirit or infinite life, then the question, what is my purpose, fades into what do I most want to give and how do I want to feel about my life? What do I want to give the most and how do I want to feel about my life? You know, we spend a lot of time in the negative feelings, because they're very seductive. You know, they're kind of seductive. They're not as energizing as the inspirational feelings. But if we start to ask, how do I want to feel? And I know that but the vast majority of people that I work with when I'm doing spiritual counseling, when I say, how do you want to feel? Often what I get is, well, what I don't want to feel is. What do you want to experience? Well, what I don't want to experience, and it often becomes a process of elimination. We are greater than process of elimination. We are greater than that. We get to have selection. We get to have agency. We don't have to start crossing things off the list. We can erase the list or burn it entirely and say, this is what I want. This is how I want to feel. This is who I am. This is how I want to be. This is the way I want to walk in the world. And this is the kind of person I want to be around. This is the kind of person I want to be. We get to do that. There are no rules here saying you can't. So what the heck? Just do it. And then from our imagination, we begin to actually call forth the ways to make that happen. And that is divine inspiration. We co-create with God through our imagination and our willingness. And as we begin to say, okay, I am willing. I'm willing. I'm willing to imagine glory. I'm willing to imagine peace. I'm willing to imagine grace. I am willing to imagine being fully sourced. I am willing to imagine all of that. That's when spiritual law goes, okay, now we got something we can work with. Now we can start making some progress, because it is that divine yes. I spoke about that last week. It is that divine yes that we are resonating to and holding in our souls. So, because I have written here, because when I'm writing my talks, it's a kind of a free flow thing. And I wrote, well, those are nice words, Dr. Sidney, but how do we actually reveal or discover our sacred purpose and start to live it? And then I write, I'm so glad you asked. And it does beg the question once again, when was the last time you listened to your life? When did you listen to your life? Our purpose is our journey. You know, we've often heard it's not the destination. Destinations change all the time, all the time. The purpose is the journey. Our purpose is the joy of expressing our talents. Our purpose is giving our gifts, our passions, and believe it or not, even expressing our needs, our anger, and even our confusion. Because all of those have within them possibility. They have within them a question to ask another question. How do I want to feel? Who do I want to be? How do I want to live in this life? What do I have to give? Howard Thurman, and I quoted him last week, and I quote him a lot. He wrote, this is part of a graduation address that he gave. Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive. And go do that, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. So that is the question and the answer. What makes you come alive? Boom, you have your purpose. It's that right there. And yeah, is it going to change? It is. Because tomorrow you might go, well, I'm coming alive in this. Great, let's begin to morph that way. Well, but over here, okay, we're morphing that way, because purpose is not this. Purpose is this. Breathing, loving. That's it. It will personalize itself uniquely through you in the gifts and talents and the things that you do, the things that you want, and the way that you are. That's purpose. It's not this little specific thing. It's really not. Do I want to talk about that? No, I don't. Oh, I know what I want to talk about. When we commit to being ourselves, we change the world. We truly, truly do. And it takes great courage to do that, to be yourself. Now, one of my favorite actresses was Ruth Gordon. And at 72, after more than 50 years in the industry, she finally won an Oscar. And she said, never give up. And never under any circumstances face the facts. You want to hear that one again? Never give up and never under any circumstances face the facts. She also said courage is very important. Like a muscle, it is strengthened by use. She also said something else that cracked me up the first time I heard it. She said, we always talk about how the show must go on. The show must go on. She said, of all the things that have to go on, the show isn't one of them. So in the next weeks and months, you're going to start hearing about our evolutionary purpose statement. And it's this. Our purpose is transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in our world. Transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in our world. This purpose is a living presence. It is a living idea. It is the attractor field that shapes our identity, our culture, our structure and behavior. And it will serve as the compass. It is our North Star that guides our decisions as this community, with the board, with me personally. It is that which guides and resolves our conflicts and stabilizes and enhances and grows the emotional field of this center, transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in our world. So I have an invitation for you. If these ideas are stirring for you in some way, you're hearing something, you're feeling something, and you might be feeling a little bit curious about what's possible, take classes. We have, spiritual education is very important. If we want to do more than just come in, feel good for an hour, go home, feel not good for 2 days, feel even worse for the next 2 days, and then just feel like misery for the days after that, till we come back and then we feel good. So, to have life unfold in an ongoing continuum, an ongoing basis in which we have the tools and we use the tools to expand and to grow and to feel joy and peace, education is necessary. So whether your education is here or somewhere else, I hope it's here because I love teaching. Reverend Skip does an amazing job teaching, and we have practitioners who also work with us as educational arms of this church. And as it happens, coincidence, we have a foundational class beginning next week. This foundations class, and I know a number of you have taken it, it is that which coalesces all of it and gets you going on that path with healthy navigation, healthy ideas, healthy purpose, healthy presence, healthy understanding, all of that. It's what I had been in this teaching for years and years and years. And when I took foundations, all of the stuff that I knew came together, and it really got me fully moving forward. So I invite you to look at that and take that class, because it is where we come together as a community and we get to expand and we get to heal and bless this world. Let's pray. Thank you. So we turn within once again, recognizing together that there is only the one, the infinite power and presence that we call God, that we call Spirit, that we call that universal law, that infinity of love, of intelligence that has created and sustained all life, keeps the planets in their orbits, keeps the sun and the moon rising, keeps everything in order, keeps the birds flying and the grass growing, and my heart beating and your heart beating. This is the truth. We recognize that. We recognize that we are immersed and saturated in that, and that we are divine expressions of it. Full faith and credit. Full faith and credit. We are here as God, to be God, and to live in the divine field of possibility. So I speak my word now for this church, for this center, for all beings here, knowing that we are indeed blessed, and that this place is blessed. We are a blessing in the world, and indeed we bless all centers, all churches, ashrams, temples, synagogues, cathedrals, wherever people gather. We know the light shines brighter because we are here to be that light, to shine that light, and we say yes to being that light. So we surround this entire planet with a knowing of greaterness, of greater unfoldment, of greater possibility, that the phoenix indeed, we are the phoenix, and we are, yes, in the fire, and we say, yes, we are the light in that fire, and we embrace it. We are grateful for it, and so it is, and together we say, amen.